We are back with another case from Mysterious Audio, the case of Bianca Devins. This recent case was requested by one of our channel subscribers. Egan regrets that in the process of researching the case, they came across many disturbing images, and Egan feels it's important to let you know before watching this video that this case may expose you to disturbing content. So, it's advisable not to research further about it to avoid impacting your mental health. Furthermore, the victim's family has also stated that they don't want the painful images of their child to be circulated further. Therefore, some of the collected images may not be appropriate. This video will be carefully filtered, and we hope for your understanding and empathy for Mysterious Audio. Thank you very much. Bianca Michelle Devins was born in 2001 in the city of Utica, New York, USA. Bianca lived with her mother, Kim Devins, and her younger sister, Olympia. Bianca's childhood was different from that of ordinary children. She suffered from mental issues from the age of 9, and by the age of 13, her symptoms worsened. Eventually, Bianca was diagnosed with a disorder involving tension after trauma and dissociation with boundaries of personality. Therefore, she had to frequently visit hospitals for treatment. Despite these challenges, Bianca always tried to maintain an optimistic spirit. She had struggled with psychological difficulties for a long time since childhood, so she wanted to study psychology to help people like herself. She planned that after graduating from high school, she would attend Mohawk Valley Community College. In June 2019, Bianca graduated from high school at the age of 17, with her dream of becoming a psychologist shining brighter than ever. In the graduation photo, both Bianca and her mother, Kim Devins, were radiant with happiness, unable to hide their joy. On Friday, July 12, 2019, nearly half a month after graduating from high school, following days of diligent studying, Bianca decided to attend a music concert in New York the next day, July 13, 2019. The concert featured Canadian singer-songwriter Nicole Dolanganga, one of Bianca's favorite artists. Bianca asked her mother to accompany her, and Kim Devins naturally agreed to let her daughter go out with her friends before diving into her upcoming academic endeavors. With her mother's permission, Bianca was thrilled. It was her first concert for adults. However, in the early morning hours of 2 days later, at 6:03 a.m. on July 14, 2019, a sudden image of a motionless, bloodied young woman surfaced on the social media platform Instagram. Initially, friends thought it was a fake photo, as many shocking images are posted on these platforms to attract attention. But the horrifying authenticity of the image prompted numerous one-on-one calls from across the country. One caller identified her as Bianca Michelle Devins, expressing hope that she was only bleeding and still alive. By 7:20 a.m., the police finally viewed the photos and videos of Bianca posted on social media. Additionally, the police department received a multitude of reports from Bianca's Instagram friends who had seen the posts about her and suspected something unfortunate had happened to her. However, the police did not conclude that Bianca was dead, as they couldn't immediately verify the authenticity of the posts, relying solely on the images and videos. Nevertheless, the police unanimously agreed that finding the girl named Bianca as soon as possible was crucial. Hence, they immediately began searching for her. Initially, they went to Bianca's house and explained the situation to her family. Upon hearing the police officers, Bianca's mother, Kim, expressed concern that something might have happened to her daughter. At this point, the police had not shown Bianca's social media posts to her mother, Kim, fearing she might be shocked. After speaking with the police, Kim immediately called her daughter. Strangely, the call went straight to voicemail. While the family worried about Bianca, the police received an unexpected call from an unfamiliar young man who said,
My name is Brandon. The victim is Bianca Michelle Devins.
The phone operator continued questioning the individual to prolong the conversation, aiming to determine his whereabouts, seemingly aware of the police's intentions. The person, who identified himself as Brandon, laughed and disclosed that he and Bianca were in the woods, revealing the location to be a dead-end street not far from Bianca's house. The police quickly identified the killer's location and rushed to the scene. Meanwhile, Bianca's mother, Kim, received a call from an acquaintance and saw the disturbing images and videos posted on social media. The posts depicted Bianca's images and videos circulating on social media. Overwhelmed, Kim fainted on the spot. When the police arrived, they found a young man sitting next to a black SUV. A police officer immediately aimed a gun at him, but Brandon ignored the warning, dropping a sharp object from his hand and refusing to answer the officer's questions about Bianca's whereabouts. He used the sharp object to harm himself on the neck before lying down on a blue tarp to cover Bianca's body. Then took a selfie, posting it on social media with the caption, "Return to dust." After backup arrived, Brandon was quickly disarmed and subdued. He was taken to the emergency room by the police, who hurriedly transported him to the hospital, fearing that if he died, the details of the case might never be revealed. 2 weeks later, Brandon was treated in the hospital and regained consciousness. Upon waking up, the police immediately arrested him and began unraveling the secrets of the horrifying case.
This is the police investigation process. Number 1, unusual details at the crime scene. At the crime scene, the police found a cryptic message sprayed by Brandon on the ground. "Hope you never forget me." The message was taken from a Japanese manga series the duo used to read together, known for its dark and violent content, resembling a darker version of Romeo and Juliet. Dark imagination. Brandon seemed to have a twisted imagination, imagining his relationship with Bianca as a doomed lover's tale. Unusual music setup. Another peculiar detail was the music setup at the crime scene. Brandon had set up a mobile phone to play a song repeatedly through Bluetooth speakers, a song about someone sacrificing too much for a relationship. These details hinted at Brandon's disturbed mental state and his warped perception of his relationship with Bianca. Number 2, relevant witnesses. After examining Brandon and Bianca's social media accounts, the police discovered that both were accompanied by another male friend to the concert. Messages indicated that Bianca had invited this new friend named Alex and expressed concerns that Brandon might be jealous. Alex recounted that Brandon appeared uncomfortable upon seeing him. Later, when Brandon escorted Bianca away from the concert, Alex received a text from Bianca saying, "I think Brandon saw me kiss you." Number 3, physical evidence obtained one day after the homicide. Prosecutors went to the Utica Police Department, where overnight investigators conducted forensic analysis of Brandon's cell phone. They made a horrifying discovery, a video filmed by Brandon depicting him killing Bianca, with details too gruesome to describe. Between Bianca and a young man self-identified as Brandon, the relationship between the two had a bizarre nature. In reality, besides striving to become a psychologist to help those who had endured psychological illnesses like himself, Bianca had found solace for her soul in online communities. Social media was an integral part of Bianca's life, where she could escape her inner struggles and retreat into an online world, expressing whatever she desired. Her beautiful appearance and sweet demeanor made Bianca popular across multiple platforms. Pursuing an Uyghur style, a term referring to Gen Z girls with pink-toned makeup. She posted pictures showcasing her makeup skills and dyed hair, all contributing to her fan base and her potential as a future model. Many men followed Bianca online, including a Lyft driver 4 years her senior named Brandon Clark, age 21. Brandon consistently liked and commented on Bianca's photos and frequently arranged to meet her in real life. Bianca began to take an interest in Brandon as they seemed to get along well, quickly learning that Brandon lived about an hour away from her in Utica. Upon learning of Bianca's proximity to him, Brandon immediately drove to Utica, where Bianca lived. After meeting in person, the two briefly dated but couldn't progress further, as Bianca was heading to college far from home, naturally leading to their separation. Despite no agreement or confirmation from Bianca, Brandon told others that he was dating Bianca, showing off Bianca's Instagram to friends, boasting that he was her boyfriend. Furthermore, in June 2019, a month before the incident, which was Bianca's high school graduation, Brandon attended the graduation ceremony to congratulate Bianca. Surprisingly, Brandon introduced himself as Bianca's boyfriend. Bianca, feeling embarrassed, told everyone they were just friends. However, Brandon persisted, continuing to assert that he was Bianca's boyfriend. Feeling frustrated, Bianca later reminded Brandon and advised him to consider their relationship more carefully when speaking about it. Brandon, in fact, was a young man with an unhappy childhood, growing up in a callous and physically abusive environment from his parents at a young age. When Brandon was 10 years old, authorities transferred him to a juvenile facility. Those who had been there with Brandon said he was a guy who liked anime with cute girls and genuinely loved those characters. As he matured, for the first time, Brandon fell for Bianca, a real girl, not a cartoon character. Every day he looked at his phone, waiting for Bianca to post something new, and searched for Bianca's name in the search bar. The day after meeting Bianca in person, Brandon acted as though he would do anything Bianca wanted. Indeed, he visited her house every day, trying to impress Bianca and her family. Bianca's mother, Kim Devin, commented that Brandon resembled a well-behaved, courteous young man next door. Despite Brandon's efforts, Bianca did not reciprocate his feelings. Nevertheless, for reasons unknown, Bianca continued to meet Brandon. Then, on the day Bianca went to a concert in New York on July 13, 2019, she didn't go alone. She went with Brandon. Initially, Bianca contacted some of her friends and invited them to the concert with her, but most of her friends declined, saying they already had plans for that day. Only one of them accepted Bianca's invitation, Brandon. At that time, although Bianca only saw Brandon as a good friend, not a romantic interest, Brandon felt differently. He still saw Bianca as his ideal type and genuinely loved her. So when Bianca contacted Brandon and told him that only the two of them would go to the concert, Brandon was overjoyed. Brandon had planned to confess his feelings to Bianca after the concert that day. Around 6:30 p.m. on the day of the concert, Bianca and Brandon arrived at the venue in Queens, New York. Brandon was overjoyed at the thought of enjoying the concert with Bianca. However, at that moment, another young man appeared before Bianca and Brandon. His name was Alex, and he greeted Bianca, asking why she was so late. Bianca introduced Brandon to Alex and mentioned that she and Alex had known each other for a long time. Brandon felt disappointed because the romantic privacy he had imagined didn't exist. Bianca, unaware of Brandon's feelings, casually suggested that the three of them get acquainted. Then, Alex hugged Brandon and expressed how happy he was to meet him. Despite feeling unsettled, Brandon continued to enjoy himself, drinking, laughing, and chatting with Bianca and Alex as if nothing had happened. Near the end of the concert, Brandon briefly left to use the restroom. When he returned, from a distance, he saw Bianca and Alex kissing. Unable to contain his anger, Brandon ran to where Bianca and Alex were sitting with wide eyes. As Brandon approached, Bianca noticed him and stopped the kiss. Both Bianca and Alex acted as if nothing had happened, looking towards the stage. Brandon glared at Alex with resentment, but Alex didn't even seem to care about Brandon. Immediately after the concert ended, Alex bid farewell to Bianca and Brandon and hurried home. The wrath and jealousy of the unrequited lover turned malevolent. At 11:30 p.m., Brandon and Bianca left the concert without saying a word to each other. Brandon drove to the parking lot and entered Bianca's address into the GPS system. Fuming with anger, Brandon sat behind the wheel without speaking to Bianca, who was observing his facial expressions. Brandon yelled at Bianca to get in the car. She said she was tired and wanted to rest, then got into the back seat of Brandon's car. Once Bianca was seated in the back, she texted Alex, telling him that she thought Brandon had seen them kissing and seemed very angry. After a while, Bianca fell asleep in the back seat. Brandon recalled the day's events, and at 3:30 a.m. on July 14, 2019, just before the car approached Bianca's house, he suddenly turned the car into the woods. From here, the events unfolded as seen in a video found on Brandon's phone. Brandon positioned his phone's camera while Bianca was asleep, then woke her up to question her about kissing Alex. After a moment of silence, Brandon stared at Bianca in surprise and said he saw her kissing Alex. Brandon accused Bianca of why she did that knowing he liked her. Bianca sighed and said she had nothing to say about it, apologizing sincerely to Brandon for hurting his feelings. However, Bianca also reiterated, as she had said many times before, that because they were not in a relationship, it had nothing to do with him and hoped he would understand. Bianca's cold response only fueled Brandon's anger, causing him to shout that apologies were not enough. Bianca decided she couldn't talk to Brandon anymore and sternly reminded him that they were not in a relationship, then requested he take her home. Surprisingly, Brandon retrieved a sharp object from somewhere in the car and angrily approached her. Bianca was unable to defend herself against Brandon's attack and immediately collapsed. He shouted into the camera, blaming Bianca for his actions, asking why she made him do this. On March 16, 2021, nearly 2 years after Bianca's murder, Ryden was sentenced to the maximum penalty for killing Bianca, which is life imprisonment. In his final words, Brandon surprisingly apologized to Bianca and attempted to mitigate his sentence by feigning remorse. However, the judge saw through Brandon's actions as deceitful and upheld the life imprisonment sentence. The minimum term for parole eligibility is 25 years, meaning Brandon won't be eligible for parole until he's 40 years old in 2044. The lasting repercussions of the tragic images may have put the perpetrator behind bars and sought justice for Bianca, but those standing for justice couldn't prevent what was happening online. Immediately after the incident, people who saw the initial photos and videos of Bianca uploaded them to their accounts, using them to gain likes and followers. Even after the images and videos were removed, some individuals still claimed to have the original content and promised to share them if others liked and followed their accounts. The horrifying images Brandon posted continued to circulate, as Facebook and Instagram failed to stop them for several months. Only 2 months after the incident, Brandon's account uploaded the first images and videos again, but they still floated around the internet. Despite Bianca's Instagram account being inactive since her passing, it still saw a staggering increase in followers, from 2,500 to an influential account with about 140,000 followers, indicating the dire state of society. Furthermore, Bianca's family had to face an inhumane wave of online harassment from cyberbullies who relentlessly sent them images, cruel memes, and hateful messages, blaming Bianca for what happened. Kim Devins pleaded with social media companies to remove these images, but this proved to be extremely difficult. Eventually, Bianca's mother spoke out, criticizing social media companies for their stance and stating that they had killed her daughter twice. Stephen Raimondo, a behavioral scientist, described the attack on Bianca's family as a form of psychological terrorism. He believes that individuals responsible for such attacks may likely belong to an online male community known as incel. Incel stands for involuntarily celibate, consisting of males aged 21 and above who have had no sexual activity for 6 months or longer, not by choice. Incels often see themselves as victims, perpetually losing out in their pursuit of affection from attractive women, referred to as Stacies. Although Brandon was not identified as an incel, the community celebrates him for his actions against Bianca, a girl regarded as a Stacy. Bianca's family has been working with local politicians to push through the Bianca Law, a bill that mandates social media companies to be accountable for allowing violent and gruesome content on their platforms. By late 2022, the New York State Legislature passed a law criminalizing the sharing of personal images for the purpose of defamation or abuse in some cases, which Governor Kathy Hochul signed into law. Using kindness to deal with life's storms, this saying rings true for Bianca's family, a beautiful and petite young girl. Not long after, Bianca's family made a noble gesture by establishing the Bianca Scholarship Fund for students pursuing psychology, the field she had intended to study before falling into the hands of a malevolent figure during a media interview. Bianca's mother expressed her desire to continue Bianca's dream of helping teens with mental illness through this scholarship fund. In today's era of social media dominance, becoming famous is the easiest thing to achieve. Every day, someone attractive and cheerful can gain influence, attracting millions of followers and almost instantly changing the lives of their fans. However, behind the bright positions of social media stars lies a dark side. We cannot be certain who is on the other side of the screen and how we can keep ourselves safe when we don't know that danger from madmen like Brandon is looming.